I mean everything. Everything. Who gave you life?
God.
Then it's his life to live through you, not your life to do with as you please. If you say you love God and yet hate your enemy, love of God is not in you. You say you love God, and yet you break every commandment every time you look around, even if it's only in your heart, not on the outward. What does that say? What does that say? Again, translated into human relationships. I'm going to be engaged to this woman. We're going to be married. But I'm having all the fun all around here, carousing and tomcatting around the whole county.
No, that's an exaggeration. She's got to give you a little something, otherwise she strangles you.
But what I'm saying is that you can't do it both ways and expect someone to say, how can you love her when you're cheating on her left, right, and center?
I didn't say cheating.
I did. You see what I mean? Now, it's one thing to have, you know, a woman-friend relationships, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But it's another thing when you are supposed to be engaged or married to someone and yet you live like you're a single person. You know what I mean? That's not love. That's something else. In the same way, you can't say you're in love with God and not keep his commandments. It just doesn't work. And then expect to go to heaven that way? God's going to look at you and go, I don't know you. I don't know you. You paid me no never mind. You didn't love me. You loved yourself, your pleasure, your this, your that, and the other. All this far more than me. You know what you're going to get for all eternity? You're going to get all of that. You're not going to get me. You're going to get all that. Go away. You didn't want me. You're not going to get me. I think that's only fair. Right? Would anyone begrudge the gal that I'm engaged with by breaking off the engagement if she just got tired of me carousing around like that? Would anyone say, oh, she's just not open-minded enough. She's just blah, blah, blah. No, they'd say, good for you, girl. Dump the loser. Are you kidding? Plenty of fish in the sea. Right? Or vice versa. See, when we translate our relationship with God into how we expect human relationships to act, all of a sudden it looks a lot different. Why do you think marriage is a sacrament then? Because it is a mystery to reflect the relationship that God has with his creation. That's why it's indissoluble. That's why it can never be broken. Never. Because God isn't one to just say, I'm done, and divorce this human race. He has every right to, and he doesn't. You know why? Because he is all loving. He loves us too much. Even when we don't love him.
Wow, that's true.
That's exactly it. And that's what ticks them off in hell. That despite everything, God still loves them. And that just burns them. Literally. He continued that love. I am convinced the more I study this, the more I get into this theology, the more I'm convinced that the greatest pains in hell are going to be for the devil, because he's going to know how much God loves him. You know God loves all the angels too, right? He loves his whole creation. Why was it made? Why was anything made?
To love God.
Out of what? What motivated God to make everything?
Love.
Love. The whole creation reflects the love of God. Everything. The only ones that don't have sense enough to give it back to him are the fallen angels and mankind. They're the only ones that don't have sense enough to love him back. Boy, talk about a mystery. You know, we've had discussions about that. Why would this powerful being like an angel reject God? That baffles me. But I'm not going to get off on that. I just want to put that out there. I want to cycle back to the dignity of mankind. Yes?
I just want to use Romans chapter 5 verse 10. While we were God's enemy, we were reconciled to him through the death of his son. God have mercy, God.
Yes. While we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. While we were yet sinners, Christ died. See, Christ didn't come to redeem the good. He redeemed us all. It's just that some of us are smart enough to take advantage of the opportunity. And some of us are just too hard-headed, too thick-headed, too enmeshed in our own sin to give it back to him. Because we think it's our life, it's my body, it's my life. I've got news for you, none of it is yours. None. That's why Jesus said you love God with your whole heart, your soul, your strength, your body, your mind. Everything is his. Everything is God's. So you give it all back to him. That's just common sense. Talk about rational Bible. That's just a rational approach.
St. Ignatius says, take away my will, my understanding, my memory. Only your grace and your will is enough for me.
That's very good. I like that.
St. Ignatius of Loyola.
It's what keeps us away from experiencing this love of God. I'm convinced of it. It is our stubborn willfulness that keeps us away from fully experiencing God. I'm convinced of it more and more. So let's go back to this dignity of man. God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created male and female created. Man occupies a unique place in creation because he is in the image of God. His own nature, he unites the spiritual and material worlds. And 3, he is created male and female. And 4, God establishes himself in his friendship. From the very beginning, God established a friendship between his creation and himself. Now, I love what this says here. I'm going to try and go through it a little quickly. I'm going to try and give myself 5 minutes on this, and I'm going to move on. Good luck, I know, but to try and keep me to it. 5 minutes. Because you can read this on your own, but I want to highlight some of it. Because this is again why we are taking this depth. Because this is seminal to understanding why God has done what he's done throughout all of human history. Why has God gone through all this trouble to incarnate himself and to redeem us in this way, going to the cross and rising again? Why? This is why. 356, of all visible creatures, get this, of all visible creatures, implying that there are invisible creatures,
Yes.
but of all the visible creatures, only man is able to know and love his Creator. Animals can't. Right? He is the only creature on earth that God has willed for his own sake. And he alone is called to share by knowledge and love in God's own life. Did you hear that? Only human beings are called by knowledge and love to share in God's life.
Where is that? 356.
Paragraph 356 of the Catechism.
Oh, the catechism is
Yeah.
not in the file.
No. But this is understanding what this part of the creation story is meaning. This is the understanding of this. It was for this end he was created, and this is the fundamental reason for his dignity. Why are human beings worth anything? Because of this. We're the only creation visible that through knowledge and love can share in God's life. Because we're made a unique creation of God. We cannot undermine this. I'm going to go to 357. Being in the image of God, the human individual possesses the dignity of a person who is not just something, but someone. Did you catch that?
Yes.
We are not like your cats and dogs. We aren't. Cats and dogs have not been called by God to share in his love and life. Human beings have. And this is what gives us our dignity. We are not some things, we are some ones. Huge difference. He is capable of self-knowledge, self-possession, and of freely giving himself and entering into communion with other persons. And he is called by grace to a covenant with his Creator. What's covenant?
Marriage.
Marriage. That when you see the word covenant, you have to think a marriage agreement. That's a big move. To offer him a response of faith and love that no other creature can give in his stead. Did you hear that? I mean, this is deep theology. It seems so simple, but at the same time, I think in our day and age, we've forgotten this. And quite frankly, I think there is a move to try and somehow blend human beings in with the rest of the animal kingdom. We're no better than the rest of the animals. And that's not true. That's not true.
But they're doing that.
And that kind of thinking is wrong. It's wrong. We have a unique dignity by virtue of our direct creation by God to share in his love and life that no other part of visible creation has. That's an awesome responsibility. That's an awesome call, a vocation, if you will. That we have this unique opportunity as human creatures to have a covenant marriage relationship with the Creator that no other creature has. Visible creature. With me? Okay. 358. God created everything for man. But man in turn, man in turn was created to serve and love God and to offer all creation back to him. Okay? Everyone good?
Yes.
I'm not reading the smaller print because it's more of an expounding of the main thoughts. I'm going to hit some of these main thoughts. Two more and I move on. 359. In reality, it is only in the mystery of the Word made flesh that the mystery of man becomes clear. What does that mean? The Word became flesh. What's this?
Jesus became
It's
man.
because of Jesus and his revelation to us that we fully understand the dignity of human creation. Last one. Because of its common origin, the human race forms a unity For from one ancestor God made all nations to inhabit the whole earth. Okay? Now, is that all there? No, no, no. It goes on and on and on and on. I don't want to spend too much more time on this. I want to give you a little tease, a little taste, so that you can go back and read more about this in the Catechism. Begin with paragraph 355 and just keep going. Is it very relevant to what we're studying? Absolutely. Absolutely. So we go back to this, the dignity of man. Let's continue to dig a little deeper in the creation account. What does it mean when God says, have dominion over the fish and the birds and the cattle and all of that? What does he mean by that? Well,
They serve him.
we read that in the Catechism, did we not? All of creation is to serve mankind. And we, in turn, do what? Abuse it?
Serve it.
No, what are we supposed to do?
Use
Back
it.
to
Go back to God with it, right? So it's a both ways. So this in no way calls us to destroy nature and abuse it and just whatever. It is meant to serve mankind. For what purpose? To give it back to God. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind.
And be grateful for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love this statement. Either man will rule over nature, or nature will rule over man. And I'm not just talking about how science has conquered nature, as we like to think. It's deeper than that spiritually. Because as we get past Genesis, we're going to go into Exodus. Right? And what do we know about the Egyptians? What kind of gods did they worship? What kind? Huh? Sun, the moon, the stars, what else? Insects, animals. They started worshiping the crocodiles of the Nile. That's so bad. They worship Hathor, the cow goddess. They worship Ra, the falcon god. They worship Thoth, the ibis god. These are animals that you would find